The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to the apostles, "Who among you would say to your servant, who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table'? Would he not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat. Put on your apron, wait on me, while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished'? Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, 'We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
The Gospel today is a parable on the servant, which is only found in Luke's Gospel. This parable teaches us that our life has to be characterized by an attitude of service. Jesus begins with 3 questions, and at the end, he answers it himself. The 3 questions are taken from daily life in first century Israel. The listeners are called to think, each one based on his own experience, and to give a response according to that experience. The first question, who among you would say to your servant who has come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, "Come here immediately and take your place at table"? Any first century Jew will answer, "No, not me. I wouldn't say that." The second question, would he rather say to him, "Prepare something for me to eat. Put on your apron and wait on me. You may eat and drink when I am finished"? Of course, any first century Jew would have answered, "Well, yes, certainly, I would say that." The third question is he grateful to the servant because he did what was commanded? Any first century Jew would have answered, "No, of course not." The way Jesus asked the questions, we become aware of how he's trying to orient our thinking, how he's trying to guide us on how we should understand service. He wants us to be servants to one another. At the end, Jesus himself draws the conclusion which was already implicit in the questions. So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, "We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do." See, Jesus has given us an example when he says, "The Son of Man has come not to serve, not to be served, but to serve." Service represents the form in which the poor at the time of Jesus were waiting for the Messiah, not a king, not a judge, not a ruler, but a servant of Yahweh, a fulfillment of the words of Isaiah. From Isaiah 42:1, when he says, "Here is my servant, whom I uphold, my chosen one, with whom I am pleased. Upon him I have put my spirit. He shall bring forth justice to the nations." We also have the example of our Blessed Mother, when she says to the angel, "Behold, the handmaid of the Lord. May it be done according to your word." In Nazareth, Jesus presents himself as a servant described in Isaiah. In the baptism and the transfiguration, he's confirmed by his Father with quotes that refer to that servant. And Jesus tells his disciples, anyone who wants to be first among you must be your slave. Unprofitable servants. That's a definition of Christians. You know, St. Paul, when he's talking to the community of Corinth, talks about how he did the planting and Apollo did the watering, but God gave growth. He says, in this neither the planter nor the waterer accounts for anything, only God who gave growth. Apollo, Paul, were nothing. Only simple instruments, servants. That's what we're called to be. Simple servants. The only one who counts is God. Here in this gospel passage, the servant serves the master, and not the master the servant. But if we look back earlier in Luke, we see that Jesus says something remarkable. He says, blessed those servants whom the master finds awake when he comes. In truth, I tell you, he will undo his belt, sit down at table, and wait on them. You see, in this verse, the master serves the servant, and not the servant the master. So is there some conflict there between what was said before and what's said now? No. You see, when Jesus is talking about the servant serving the master, he's talking about the present time. But when he talks about the master serving the servant, he's talking about the future. He's talking about the second coming, when those who are prepared, those who are willing to give their life for Jesus Christ and for the gospel, will find a reward. Brothers and sisters, we must strive in this world to do the will of God. Take time to quiet yourself. Take time to find that will that God has for you. For every one of us, he has a plan and a purpose. And we must seek out that plan, and we must act upon it. As unprofitable servants, it's what we're called to do. Jesus promises great joy to anyone who serves God in this present life. If we are faithful, if we stay true to the teachings of the Catholic Church, if we love our fellow man as ourselves, then we will hear those words. Well done, my good and faithful servant.